up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Banjo, the dog, coming at you live from my garage. And this is the Fantasy Footballin' Show. Today's episode, Week 17, Fantasy Footballin' on a Budget. So this is our waiver wire show and balling on a budget because I usually tell you how much to spend. But hey, this is the end of the year. You probably don't have much. And if you do have anything, you're going to spend it all on one of these players or somebody that I don't know about. Anyways, before we get into this, can I ask you just to take a second and give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down? That would be amazing. Interactions are cool, comments, questions. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what you hate about me. But if you hate my dog, just keep that to yourself because he is very sensitive. Oh, so anyways, I do want to apologize about some of the content. The last week, I got sick. I got the flu. I'm still sick right now, but I'm doing a lot better. So I was not able to put out my, last second fantasy factoids and stuff because I was traveling and just like, dude, I was throwing up. It was terrible. So I do apologize. This channel is a very high priority for me, but dude, I didn't care about anything except, dude, I watched every single football game at least because I was at my parents', so that was cool. So anyways, let's get into this. Number one with running backs, Tyler Allgeier, 39% owned, 22.5 points and 13 fantasy points over 100 scrimmage yards the last two games in a half PPR. He's getting 17 and 18 carries in those games. He was heavily involved in the passing game this last week versus the Ravens, getting 5 targets that turned into 4 catches for 43 yards. So dude, if he's getting like almost 20 carries a game and getting, targets from the rookie, Riddler, which I was expecting. I was thinking that Riddler was going to be throwing the ball a lot more to running backs. And that kind of hadn't happened the first 2 games, but this game it did. And also, Atlanta, they don't have anything to play for right now. So they're just kind of seeing what they have in their young players. I'm assuming that Arthur Smith is going to be back next year. I haven't heard anything about, I know it's a hot seat, but this was his first season. So I expect him to play or to have another year, especially with Riddler, not being a total disaster. So maybe it turns into something, but I'm just trying to say that they're going to be playing Allgeier, the young player, not the 31-year-old Cordero Patterson. They already know what Cordero Patterson is. Maybe they can get a draft pick for him or something, but Tyler Allgeier is the future. I think they want to see what they have in him. So Atlanta is home versus the 26th ranked Arizona defense next week. So I think that that is a sweet matchup, right? Wait, what'd I say? God, man, I'm so sick. Yeah, the 26th ranked Arizona defense. Yeah, that's a good matchup, I would say, out of the 32 teams. So anyways, Tyler Allgeier, 39%. Spend all your money on him if you can, because that's the best you're going to do as far as running backs goes. And then next up, Chuba Hubbard, 26% owned. He had 12 carries to Foreman's 21 this last week, but turned it into 125 yards versus the, I think it's 13th ranked Detroit defense. Surprisingly, did not have a catch. And if you know anything about Chuba Hubbard, he's a really good pass catcher. When he filled in for Christian McCaffrey, didn't really miss a beat as far as catching passes. And he has double-digit carries in 3 of the last 4 games, and now gets a 7th ranked Tampa Bay defense this week, who Carolina absolutely destroyed. What was that, back in week 7, if you remember that? And Chuba Hubbard came out as the lead dog that game and was killing it. He went 9 for 63 and a touchdown before getting injured. But then Foreman came in and, I think had 3 touchdowns against me that week. Can't remember. I think it was against me that week. So, hey, Chuba Hubbard going forward, he's not going to get as many carries as Deontay Foreman, but there's so many opportunities here. I think that you can start Chuba Hubbard. James Cook, 47%. He's my fantasy MVP. He's the reason I'm called Big Turd Ward is because I laid a big turd. I thought, but maybe not. He's still not going to be fantasy MVP, but dude, James Cook is an amazing player. I wish they would have just used him from the beginning, but they did not. He has over 100 total yards or a touchdown in 3 of the last 4 games. He is very inconsistent right now. Went 11 for 99 and a touchdown with 1 catch for 9 yards this last week versus the 29th ranked Chicago defense. Was still out-touched, 14-12 by Singletary. So it's almost a 50-50 split there, but Singletary still has potential for the most, carries. But dude, James Cook, he can get those. He gets long runs. I'm surprised that he's not been killing it in the passing game more, but I think that's more of a Josh Allen issue, and I don't know if that's ever going to get fixed as far as throwing to running backs. But yeah, so James Cook, he plays the 9th-ranked Cincinnati defense this, next week. So Cincinnati's going to be able to score some points, I bet, because they've been playing really well offensively. And I can see that the Buffalo Bills might actually have to catch up to somebody. So that would be nice to see. And, you know, Cincinnati's defense is really good on the outside versus wide receivers and everything. So maybe I could see James Cook maybe doing some damage catching passes this game for once. If he's going to do it, I think it's going to be this game. So I know it's a championship. You're probably not going to start him unless you're super desperate. But James Cook, I think, is a good play. And then Zack Moss, he's a desperation play here, 43%. He's got 24 carries and then 12 carries the last 2 games with Taylor out. So he's getting that Taylor volume. And even with Deion Jackson there, ever since Deion Jackson fumbled, I think, last game, he has not been getting any carries. He gets a couple catches and that's it. So it's pretty much the Zack Moss show there, but it's not like a show you want to pay a ticket to go see, or, you know, you're probably going to fall asleep during it. Just walk out. The only movie I ever walked out on was Team America, if you could believe that. And now it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I watch it every 4th of July. When I was young, man, whatever. I don't know how I didn't like that movie. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So plays the 22nd ranked New York Giants defense this week. Would not rely on any Colt in the championship week. But hey, desperation is desperation. If you're looking for a running back and you got here somehow, you could probably you can play Zack Moss and count on, you know, some volume there. And then this is a one to monitor here. Justin Jackson, 1% owned. Jamal Williams hurt leg in 3rd quarter. And we all know how the DeAndre Swift workload goes. He'll probably get 4 carries and I don't know, 2 targets, even if Jamal Williams doesn't even play. So there's a lot of opportunity for Justin Jackson, who would fill in the Jamal Williams role. And Jamal, you know, and there are so many red zone. When they get in the red zone, they just run the ball. I'm pretty sure Jamal Williams was like leading the league in red zone attempts or something this year. So Justin Jackson has a good chance to get a touchdown this week if Jamal Williams doesn't play. So it's a monitor Jamal Williams situation. They play the 29th ranked Chicago defense this week. It's a sweet matchup. Should have a lot of opportunity. So that's good. Good. Next up, we're going to the wide receivers. Jahan Dotson, the electric rookie. I think I was saying he's like Deshaun Jackson, dude. He just catches touchdowns. 30% owned. Like, this is a guy that you can actually start your championship week, okay? And I know that they're talking about starting Wentz again. I don't know why they're talking about throwing Wentz back in there. I don't know if it's some kind of contract deal or what. But guess what, dude? He played amazing with Wentz. Man, he was catching all kinds of touchdowns with Wentz in the beginning. He's playing amazing with Heineke. So regardless of which quarterback plays, you can count on Jahan Dotson. He's leading Washington in targets over the last 3 games with 24. He's catching a TD, and he caught a TD in each of those games. So they are playing home versus the 8th-ranked Cleveland defense this week. So it's not the greatest matchup, but hey, man, he is. If you watch that guy play, I don't really think it matters. He is like a jitterbug. He's awesome. So anyways, next up, DJ Chark, 31%. Led team in receiving yards this last week versus the 24th ranked Carolina defense, catching 4 passes for 108 yards. He has over 90 yards in 3 of the last 4 games and plays at home versus the 14th ranked Chicago defense this week. I think that, and he's also like leading the league with like almost like 20 yards or like 19.9 yards per catch or something over the last 3 games. And the second place is Waddle, I think, with like 17. So he's like blowing everybody out of the water as far as catching deep passes over the last month almost. And that's with Jared Goff looking amazing. So DJ Chark, 31% owned, you can go pick up and maybe start the championship week and get 10 points fantasy wise. And that's huge in a flex or something like that, man. Like, that's really good. So yeah, DJ Chark. Also, I owned DJ Chark was last year, the year before, when he went on a tear. And so I have an affinity towards DJ Chark. I know that he is hyper talented, and he was known for scoring touchdowns back in Jacksonville, and he hasn't really been scoring touchdowns here. If he was scoring touchdowns here, he'd be like a top 10 wide receiver, no problem. Next up, I've been watching this Isaiah Hodgins for a while, and now this new Richie James guy. So the wide receivers for the Giants, you never want to start anybody else for the Giants. You don't want to start Daniel Jones, but there's been a couple of wide receivers that you can start. So Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James, 11 and 12 targets to these two last week versus the 31st ranked Vikings defense. So yeah, thanks Vikings, dude. Get your stuff together, man. Both had 90 yards with Hodgins catching a touchdown. James has two touchdowns in the last 5, while Hodgins 3 in the last 4. So if you watch these games, Hodgins catches a lot of touchdowns, it seems like, or he gets hyper targeted in the red zone. So I think Hodgins is a really safe bet for a touchdown. And then, James is kind of like, he'll get you like, 70 yards or something like that and get all the targets. So it's more of a desperation play, but I think that you can look at these two if you really need a wide receiver. They play the 6th ranked Indianapolis defense next week. So it's not the best matchup because there's not a lot of opportunity because people just get up and they run the ball against them. So look into those two, make up your own mind. You don't want to get burned starting people like, no names on your championship week, but look into that because they've been pretty consistent lately. And I've got 2 tight ends. Tyler Conklin, 36%. He's not been very involved with Zach Wilson the last 2 weeks, but he gets Mike White back this week. He had 7 and 8 targets the last 2 games. He played with Mike White, and now White is nursing his cracked ribs. So maybe Mike White's not going to be just tossing the ball super deep to Garrett Wilson all the time right now. He already likes to throw the ball to running backs, and I could see him wanting to throw it more to running backs and more to his tight end, Tyler Conklin. And maybe Elijah Moore, but I would bet more running backs and tight end. That's just a guess because he was really not supposed to play. It's kind of a surprise that he is going to play. So I'm sure he's still a little bit injured. And so he plays the worst ranked tight end defense in the league, which is Seattle this week. So sweet matchup for Conklin. I'm sure that Saleh knows this. He's a defensive guy, and they're probably going to implement the game plan to really involve short passes and keep Mike White protected so he doesn't take any hits. You can start Conklin, no problem this week, and win your championship. Not because of him, but not. It won't be, it won't be because he did bad. I don't think he's going to win you the week, but he won't lose you the week. That's what I'm trying to say. Dude, I'm so sick, man. It sucks. I was just sick with a cold or some crazy respiration thing, and now with the flu sucks, man, because I love food. Dude, I went back to Bakersfield, the best Mexican food in the world. I swear to God, man. That's where I grew up, and couldn't even go do all that. I think I only ate 2 tacos. It sucked. Anyways, enough of that. Juwan Johnson next up, 24%. He had a bad last week versus Cleveland, coming off a oh, there you go. Sorry, I just had a spit. Juwan Johnson, 24%, had a bad last week versus Cleveland, coming off a 2-touchdown game versus Atlanta. He's at Philadelphia this next week. But hey, man, he's as good as it gets as a tight end, as a touchdown bet for a tight end in this league. Like, that's it, dude. If I'm going to bet on a touchdown, it's going to be like either Kelsey or Juwan Johnson. And the way that game plan worked out, I mean, they barely threw the ball. The Saints did last week. It was just bad. So I think that you could probably count on Juwan Johnson this week. And I know it sucks to say probably count on somebody this week. It's the playoffs. But, dude, this is tight ends we're talking about. It doesn't matter. Unless you have Kelsey or whatever. It is probably. That's all there is. All right, so next up, we're going to the quarterbacks. And I got to scroll down a little bit on this thing, so give me a second. Gardner Minshew with the Fu Manchu and the tight little shorts. 24 fantasy points this last week, even with all the, dude, versus like, a really good Dallas defense, even with all those turnovers. Jalen Hurts protects the ball a lot more, but hey, you can get a lot of and he doesn't run and Gardner Minshew is not going to really get a lot of rushing touchdowns or anything. But hey, man, he's going to throw Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith is amazing, and AJ Brown is pretty good too. And yeah, so the talent is there. And I do want to say that Lane Johnson, I just saw, got injured, I think, for the rest of the regular season, so that is a concern. But The rest of that offensive line is still amazing. So I thought that he was out for the rest of the year, and I kind of got sad because I want to see what these Eagles do. But just a regular season. So Lane Johnson should be back for the playoffs. But yeah, I do think that you can start Gardner Minshew, no problem. They are at home versus the 19th ranked New Orleans defense this week. I mean, it's like 20 plus points, like 20 to 25 points for Gardner Minshew. Because, like, dude, you could just throw a screen to Devontae Smith and get a 75-yard touchdown. So I like Gardner Minshew filling in this week. If you have Tua or something and you're probably not going to, anyways, your quarterback's not going to play championship week. Brock Purdy, hey, guess what? 29%. If you need 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, just start Brock Purdy, because that's literally what he does every single week. Literally what he does every single week. So he is for the last 4 games at least. And he's a high floor, low ceiling, and he gets to play the 27th ranked Las Vegas defense this week. So yeah, dude, like, and George Kittle owners rejoice, man. I would stack Purdy and George Kittle just to do that. You could do that, no problem. But yeah, you're probably not going to be, I'm sure Brock Purdy's not going to be on any championship teams, but if you need him, he's there. And then Mike White, clear to play against this week at Seattle. Seattle plays wide receivers very well, but the thing about Mike White is that he throws underneath so much. He will take advantage of Seattle with the tight ends and the running backs. So, Bam Knight, Michael Carter, and the dude I just talked about, Conklin, are probably going to get a lot of the touchdowns, receiving yards, if I had to guess. But Mike White, I think, will still score, 15 to 25 points against Seattle. So that's great value. He's not going to lose you the week, is what I'm trying to say. Mike White is out there, 13% owned. You can play him championship week. And then as far as defenses go, dude, Jaguars defense has been scoring like double-digit points the last 3 weeks, and now they get Houston. So that's like, if you can pick up Jaguars defense and start them, that's what I would do this championship week. And I'm sorry, my voice is kind of like low and weak, and I'm like running out of breath, man. I'm talking so much. So anyways, we are back. I'm healthy enough to at least do this stuff. I'm back in my own house. So the content will stream as per usual. And when the season is over, please don't leave us, because we will be continually coming out with Friday episodes. I don't care, mock drafts. And if you like sports in general, I love sports. That's all I talk about. It depends on what time of the year it is, dude. So Jason and I will be talking about sports regardless, once a week or more. So please stay with us. We appreciate it. Anyways, thanks so much. Good luck tonight with your waivers. Hopefully some of these players will win you a championship. And I will catch you on the flip side.